Day 6 has come, and we have Argo, Consolidated Outland, Grey Cat, and Kruger in the Expo Hall. 2 heads up on hull limited ship sales. First off, today, Wednesday, November 27th, is the Pioneer. And the next limited hull edition ship is IAE Day 7, November 28th, which is Thursday, that's tomorrow, with the Drake Kraken and Kraken Privateer. So as of about 15 minutes after the time that it normally switches over, the Polaris Warbond CCU is still available. By the time I post this video, I don't know if it'll still be up, but just an FYI, the new pricing with a Warbond is available for the Polaris still. The only other new Warbond CCU that we have today is not a surprise. It was a 50-50 shot in my mind going between the Mole and the Raft, and it happened to be the Raft. So we get a $10 discount on the Raft. I suppose it's good we have one that's sub $150. It's $10 off, and you've got a plethora of choices here. So the Raft has come up at least a couple times, right? But the choices are, I guess, more difficult to make for this one because there's a lot of them at the 110 mark. So the Raft has had 2 in the past and 1 this year. So they skipped 2023 for some reason, but we've had 3 of them. And the Freelancer has had 1, the Cuddy Black has had 1, the Buccaneer has not had any as far as I recall. Again, there may be an older one, 2018 or older, that's possible. I just don't recall it ever happening. The Gladius Valiant's had 1. Again, that was this year back in Invictus. And then the Centurion has had 1 as well, but it was a while ago. So any of these could make sense for your chain, provided you have one of them. If you don't have any of them, that makes it more difficult to choose one of these as the best ship to upgrade from. Let's go back and look again. So Centurion was back in 2022. Valiant was this year, but that was the first one ever. Buccaneers never had one. Cuddy Black was also this year, and it was the first. And then the Freelancer was last year, but that was the first one, and this was a really good one. This is a really tough call. The Raft does fit into a lot of chains because it's in that sub $150 mark, and there's not a whole lot of Warbonds that come up under that dollar amount. So this is going to be a bit of a difficult choice. You're going to have to kind of make this one yourself. I think I am. Oh, let me go actually see where are my chains. Here's all my save chains. I built these, I think, yesterday, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And where could I use a Raft? And what would it upgrade from? So this one doesn't really get there. It doesn't go across the Raft or any of those ships, actually. No base level Freelancer, no Cuddy Black or anything like that. So, and this one's basically done. So I'm going to skip that one. See if the MR has any different route. So again, no Cutlass Black here. And so this one doesn't go through the Cuddy Black. Let me see here. Prospector could go through the Cuddy Black. Now Gladius to Mako. Okay, so here. No, it goes from Cuddy Black straight to the Spirit C1, which is a higher price ship. I think this was a non-Warbond. I think this was a standard that I purchased. So again, that one it only touches the Cuddy Black. So the problem that I'm running into here is that for me, let's see what this one goes to. Cuddy Black to Raft. So guess what? I need this one right here for this specific chain. So I'm going to grab the Cutlass Black to Raft. This is absolutely the one I'm going to buy because it's right here. So sometimes it works out really well where you got a $15 gap, 15 or 20 depending on the ships. This one happens to be a $15 gap for $5. Save 10 for $5, and you get a $10 discount overall. So that really worked out for me. I might grab 2 of these because I think I still have a spare Cuddy Black CCU. Let me go to my CCU. Where? There's so many pages I have open. Sorry. This is all my CCUs. Okay, so let's see how many Cuddy Black. Oh, I've got two more here. I think this one was used too. That Mako to Cuddy Black, I think that was used. But this one's not yet used. So I'm going to grab another one to the Cuddy Black. So I'll probably grab 2 of these just to make sure I have a completion for this part of the chain. And then I'm also going to grab one more of, I go back to one of the other chains that I had, the Mercury. And, oh, I was going from the Razor. Okay. So yeah, it kind of skips over that section. Okay. Yeah, so at least I have at least one that I need right now, and that was in the Ironclad, I think. Ironclad Assault. Was that this one? Yeah, right here. So I do need one for sure, and I do have another link that I can make with the Cuddy Black 2 Raft, so I'm going to grab 2 of these. That's just the gist of it. For you guys, it really depends on which other Warbonds you have that can get to one of these ships. If you don't have any, again, if you just started the CCU game this IAE, I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest the Cuddy Black. And the only reason I'm suggesting that is because it happened this year. If we go through this, Centurion was not this year. The Gladius Valiant was this year. Buccaneer hasn't happened yet. Cuddy Black was absolutely this year for Invictus. Freelancer was last year. And those are all the links. I think those are all the links. Did I miss one below the Centurion? No, the M50 is another $10 less. So the 2 that I will recommend above the others in this particular category are going to be the Gladius Valiant and the Cutlass Black. And the only reason I'm saying those 2 over the others is because it seems like we've gotten a lot of repeats from 2024. It's not a perfect 1-to-1 ratio, right? But it seems like they're rehashing the exact same Warbonds that we've had earlier in the year. So I think there's a slightly higher likelihood it's going to be one of these 2 ships that come up in the grand finale. I guess the Cuddy Black could come up on Drake Day, which is in a couple days. So there's a slightly higher likelihood, I suppose, or a higher opportunity for the Cuddy Black to come up because you have Drake Day that lands. Aegis Day has already occurred, and the Gladius Valiant didn't pop, right? So I think the Cutlass Black is a hair higher likelihood because you have two possibilities. You can get it on Drake Day or the grand finale. The Gladius Valiant has a higher probability because it seems like, again, that they're rehashing a lot of the 2024 Warbonds they've already offered. But again, Aegis Day has already passed, so that's one opportunity gone. Looking forward to the grand finale days. I think it's 3 days for the grand finale. Let's double check that really quick. 3 days, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Depending on when it starts and when it ends, you get quite a few days out of that. So that's why I'm saying, here, let's actually look at that again. So that's why I'm saying you've got Drake here. There's an opportunity at least for the Cuddy Black. Then, it could be, they could just add the Corsair, which they've had a boatload of Warbonds on. But I would really hope that they, again, finally do a repeat that we do want, which would be the Cuddy Black. It's in the perfect price zone for a lot of chains to kind of fit it in there. It really works well for so many chains because it's right at the $100 mark, right past it anyway. So it's a great Warbond to have, and I really do hope that, again, Drake Day brings us the Cuddy Black, but then again, you would have an opportunity for nearly any of the manufacturers to have Warbonds during this time period from December 2nd through December 5th. Slightly higher likelihood for a Drake ship. And then, again, this is based purely on speculation, based on what we've seen this IAE and what we've seen throughout 2024. That's just a feeling, guys. Don't hold me to that. Please don't hold me to that, especially if I'm wrong. If I'm right, absolutely commend me because I deserve it and I'm amazing. But if I'm wrong, again, this is all grain of salt and this is all speculation, right? So you know why I'm choosing the Cuddy Black for mine. I am going to grab 2. They already fit. I already have the Warbonds to the Cuddy Black and it makes perfect sense. I could grab one for the Valiant, though, right? I think I have one of those that is not in use. I'd have to go look through all of my chains again. Let's, in fact, do that. So what could it be in? It could be in either one of these Zeus ships. So I don't see Valiant in here at all. So let's go back to the other Zeus. I don't see any Valiant here. I don't see Cutlass Black either. So neither one of them made it into that chain. Prospector, Hover Quad 2 Prospector, that could be in there. There we go. Reliant Mako to Cuddy Black. That's the one that's in use. But again, I have a Cuddy Black to C1 as well. So that one is already taken care of. There's also a Gladius here, but not a Gladius Valiant. So this one's taken care of by other CCUs. Galaxy, Gladius to Galaxy. There we go. There's the other Cuddy Black to Raft that I'm using. So this one's taken care of as well. Let's, what else? Rambler, it couldn't be there. The Assault, this is the one where I needed it, right? Raft, right here. This is the one I need specifically, the Cuddy Black to Raft. I could redo it a little bit down here below the Cutlass Black, the Gladius 2 Cutlass Black. I could use the Gladius Valiant instead, and then kind of mess with it after I add those Warbonds into the CCU game app. But it's already kind of built this way, and that's a really easy fill because it's a purchase right now. Nox to Ursa Medevac. Again, some of these are just trials and tests to see how low I could get it. I did an Intrepid for the folks that actually do like the Intrepid. It would be a pretty cheap upgrade. And I don't really have a use for the Merlin, right? Again, I think I've explained multiple times, I'm old enough and don't have enough time to kind of become some sort of ace racing pilot. So I just don't have much use for things like the Merlin, the Fury, the Razor, etc. That's what, look, most of the stuff that I have, it's mostly like cargo or like blue collar stuff, fixing stuff, doing things slow. Yeah, that's my pace. I'm an old man. So that's why I've got all these other types of ships instead of the really cool ones. Like, that's a perfect example as to why I'm using the Gladius referral reward in one of my chains instead of just using the Gladius as a Gladius. It's a hell of a ship, right? It's not like it's a bad ship. It's not like I'm upgrading it because I dislike it. It's just because I just don't have much of a use for it, quite frankly, in the way I play the game. So there you have it. I'm grabbing 2 Cuddy Black, 2 Raft upgrades. In order of likelihood, I think the Cuddy Black, Gladius Valiant, then I think it's probably a tie between the Centurion down there and the Freelancer. But what a nice surprise it would be if they tossed us the Buccaneer, huh? Wouldn't that be something? That would be cool. I don't know how I would use it. It would be nice to have a Warbond Buccaneer CCU finally hit the chains. Anywho, that's it for the Warbonds. Everything else is repeat. I'm going to update this page really quick just to make sure Polaris is here still. And it is. So the Polaris is still here. Maybe they're going to leave it up for a couple days because it is a new ship. Again, it's about half past when they normally update the site, so it looks like this is going to stay for a little while, but it may be a mistake. So if you go in and you don't see the Polaris whenever you see this video, I apologize. They just left it up for a little bit longer than normal when I was still doing my recording. There aren't any additional concept ships that have come out from the ships that are in the showroom today. You'll see on this screen here, we have Argo, Consolidated Outland, Grey Cat, and Kruger. They're like the forgotten they're like the forgotten manufacturers. Like Kruger's just building race ships. It's very niche manufacturer. Grey Cat only builds the ground-based vehicles for mining, basically, right? And of course the Steve. Consolidated Outland it's a manufacturer without an identity right now, or transitioning to a new identity. I don't even know, because you've got all of the Mustangs, which are basically the same ship in form, right? They all look pretty much the same. And then you have the Hover Quad and the Nomad that do have the same kind of lines and figure and form, especially when you take into consideration the hover-based landing gear, right? And then you have the now about to be I don't want to say redone, redesigned, I suppose I could say, Pioneer, that's going to go into production, or go into the production pipeline rather, probably right about now. as a matter of fact. They said they were going to get started on it in the next couple weeks. I forget what they said during CitizenCon. But that should be in the production pipeline, or at least entering it soon. And although it is getting redesigned, it looks nothing like the Nomad or the Hover Quad, and it has a completely different design language, again, from Consolidated Outland. So there's so much opportunity to do something interesting with CO because of the hover technology and the kind of very 20th century stealth kind of look, like the stealth fighters, not the stealth bombers. Those are more different shaped, right? Specifically like the F-117 Nighthawk, if you guys are familiar with that ship. That's the angular lines and the solid faces of that particular stealth fighter kind of remind me of the Nomad, even though it's clearly not a fighter. Don't get me wrong. But that's kind of what I think that they were trying to go for as far as look goes. It's also represented in the hover quad, right? And then you get to the Pioneer, it's like, well, that doesn't need to look like a stealth vehicle, right? It's an industrial vehicle, again, which is, I don't know. I feel bad for CO because they don't really have an identity. They make a hover quad that's effectively a consumer-based vehicle. It's definitely not an industrial hauler or something. Then you have the Nomad, which is entirely a live-aboard cargo vessel. Like, that's what it is. It's a starter cargo vessel that happens to have live-aboard amenities, even though they're stripped down. And then you have all of the plethora of Mustangs, which sort of fit niche roles in the very low-level beginner market. I think there's two of them that are sort of cargo, and then there's a fighter, and then there's racers, and then there's limited editions too, which I'm not considering. And then you get to the Pioneer, which is a huge jump, not only in price, but in capability. Like, the Pioneer can literally craft every other ship that CO makes. That's a weird thing to think about. They're missing a huge gap, and there's a lot of opportunities there. And I really wish they would take that design language and build like a Nomad XXL or something, like a much larger flatbed truck. I think that would be really cool. Like, maybe somewhere between the size of a Galaxy and an MSR, and just it's basically the same gigantic version of a Nomad. I think that would be kind of cool. Really big flatbed truck kind of thing. I don't know. I'd like it. And I think they could fit it in price-wise at like the $150 range or something. I'm sure they'd go higher. But anyway, and then you have Argo, which is still very limited. It's obviously an industrial and kind of blue-collar manufacturer, right? And they've got everything from the new truck they came out to the Atlas to the Mole and a couple things in between, but they're all, thank goodness, lower price ship. I think the Mole's like, what, $315 or something. So that gets up there. But none of them, they've got a large possible expansion for Argo as a manufacturer. They just haven't done it yet. So that's why all of these guys are kind of lumped in together, mainly because they don't have a lot of ships in between them all. And the ones that they do, like the Kruger, the Grey Cat, even most of the Mustangs for CO, they're very small, so you can fit more of them into the Expo hall. So anyhow, that's today, and sort of tomorrow. Like, the way they've been doing this is very strange. They don't have two halls anymore. I read somewhere that it was a bug and that they had fixed it, but I went in today and there was still just one hall floor. So it looks like they're, I don't know, it's running for basically 24 hours or something. It's very strange. Anywho, if you haven't made it in yet to the Expo Hall, go check those out if you're interested in testing out any of those vehicles or ships. So as far as standalone Warbonds go, really the only addition, sort of, is the Pioneer in both concept and Warbond concept pricing. I say sort of because these are those time-released hull-limited ships that you got to play the web refreshed game whenever those times that I listed at the beginning of the video happen and occur. Whatever that converts to your local time, you got to refresh the web page and try and buy it. This is one of the ships that I would love to have, but I will probably never own unless I get it in-game. This is just, I can't rationalize this. This would be basically as much as I've spent on the entire game over the past almost 8 or 9 years now. But anyway, these are the only new ones here. None of the other vehicle manufacturers that have entered the Expo today have any concepts that we are aware of. So none of those concepts would be listed here. And that's why there's not much new happening here. The Raft doesn't actually have a Warbond down here either, which was kind of surprising. I kind of expected that one to have a Warbond, but no such luck. Jumping over to add-ons, they are all the same as well. There's nothing new that's been added to this section of the store. And for packs, Argo Cargo Pack is still here, as well as all of these others that we've already gone through, but they did add the Argo Complete Pack in Warbond and non-Warbond forms. This basically has everything Argo makes. So if you have a need for all of the Argo industrial ships, then this is, I guess, a pack that would let you get them all in one purchase, if that's kind of what you want to do. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you like and subscribe. It always helps your channel out. Good luck to anyone going for the Kraken or Kraken Privateer tomorrow. I hear those can be quite tricky to get a hold of. That's it for me, guys. Catch you next time. Zi-Tek, out.